Although these three men come from different families, but they are good friends who share bliss and misfortune together. Arisu just ran away from home. Arup has just been fired from his company, and Hada is skipping work to be with his unhappy friends. The streets of Shibuya, Tokyo are bustling with people. It's known as the 24-hour street that never sleeps. It's also a trendy fashion center for young people. They are immersed in the lively atmosphere of the bustling city, but they accidentally disrupted the normal traffic order. The three of them panicked and ran from the middle of the street to the sidewalk. They fled into the subway station to avoid the police. Then they immediately ran into the bathroom and hid. With the sudden power outage, the noise outside also quieted down. When they came out of the bathroom, they found the bustling crowd had disappeared without a trace. Even the streets outside had become empty, even though the surroundings and buildings had not changed. But the place was devoid of other people's living figures. It was so cold that it gave them goosebumps. Aru returns to the bar where he used to work. Hada returns to his workplace. They found everywhere dark and silent and empty. Arisu ran through the streets and alleys, but couldn't find anyone else. It was as if the whole of Tokyo had stopped working, and their cell phones didn't turn on properly. The three of them sat on the street and wondered what was wrong with the world. But look at it another way. If there were only three of them left in the world, it wouldn't be a bad thing. They don't have to go to work. They don't have to be scolded and look at other people's faces. They can eat and sleep whenever they want. They can do whatever they want. For them, who are desperate to escape from the reality of their lives, this space is tailor-made for their happiness. While the three of them were still happy with their wonderful fantasy, the LED advertising screen in the building behind them suddenly turned on. The screen clearly reads, "Welcome players, the game is about to begin." The three of them did not know what this meant. The screen showed another direction arrow. They looked in the direction of the arrow. Not far away, there was also a red light. To find out what this meant, they came to the building where the game was being played. Driven by curiosity, after they entered the building, they continued to follow the instructions and directions on the screen. At the end of the corner was an elevator entrance. They passed through the laser-sensitive doors, but they didn't notice anything different just then. They saw a row of cell phones sitting next to the elevator, and it said one cell phone per person. So they each picked up a phone. The phone then automatically performed facial recognition, but the phone still has no signal and no application. The phone screen automatically said please wait patiently for the game to start. Then a woman appeared. Nana walked straight up to Hada and took out his work card and threw it at the laser sensor door. The card was shot through with a laser. Nana calmly explains that once you cross the line, you can't get out. The crowd found all this unbelievable, but they didn't dare to actually cross the line. At that moment, a high school girl also rushed in, and so several people joined the adventure game. Their cell phones were just about to end their registration. The game began. The game is called Life or Death. The difficulty level is club-free. The rules of the game are to choose the correct door, to advance within the time limit. People have to leave the building within the time limit. The elevator door then opens automatically. It was like inviting and welcoming everyone into the heaven of the game. Nana sat without changing her face. If you keep dawdling, you'll probably die. They didn't know what she meant, but they had to get on the elevator. When the elevator doors opened again, the phone immediately said that the game time limit for this room is 2 minutes. This room is surrounded by walls on all sides. There are only 2 doors to get out. One door is the door of life, which symbolizes angels. The other door is the door of death, which symbolizes the devil. They didn't realize that it was a dangerous game of life and death. Hada was excited to pick up his phone and record a video. Time was ticking away. The crowd still didn't know what to do next. Nana urged them to open the door to life. With 30 seconds left in the countdown, unidentified smoke suddenly rose from under the floor of the room. The high school girl couldn't hold her breath any longer. She impulsively runs to the door and opens it. She was instantly struck by a laser through her forehead and then fell to the ground. The others entered the other side of the safe room. In the last 10 seconds, the whole room immediately burst into flames. They were really almost becoming barbecue food. The game time limit for the next level was reduced by another 10 seconds. Before anyone knew it, Arisu blamed Nana for the death of the high school girl. However, they were running out of time. If they want to save their lives, they have no choice but to keep going. Arisu tried to open the door ahead, but he couldn't overcome his fear. Arup couldn't handle the psychological torture. He said he could open the door this time. The next round of the game was Nana's turn to open the door. This time the luck of the draw came again. They made it through another round unscathed. This time the game time was again reduced to 1 minute and 40 seconds. Arup excitedly pulls Nana and asks her to open the door. She said poorly and tenderly that she was afraid to open the door. Since Arisu is a game expert, Arisu was able to solve all the puzzles that they couldn't solve in the past. Arisu managed to solve them all, but now Arisu's mind is in turmoil. He complains that Arub has nothing to offer but beating people up. Arub is very angry and punches him right away. Hada, who had no use for the game, just cried and told them to stop fighting. Suddenly Arisu had a moment of clarity. It was as if his wisdom was awakened. He had an epiphany and mouthed the words BMW 523. Arisu thought that this time he would choose the dead and to survive. They got another lucky break. Arisu explained that his family also had a BMW 523. The car is 494 meters long. There is also a BMW 523 parked in front of this building. The length of the building is 4 times longer than the length of this car. That means the building is about 20 meters long, and Arisu's foot is about 28 centimeters long. The length of a tile is more than 3 times the length of his foot. There are 6 tiles here, so the length of the room is about 6 meters. He clearly remembered that there was an escape route for the building next to the elevator. The whole building is nearly square, and these rooms are exactly square, so there are at most 3 rooms on one side of the building. That means there are 9 rooms on one floor. They start from the first room in the bottom left corner and open the door all the way up to the current location, and the bottom 2 rooms in the middle left dead-end exits. Then they can only continue to open the door of the room in front of them. They opened the door after calculation and proved that Arisu's idea was correct. They had a good grasp of the dynamics of the room, so they were able to open the door to the next room without any problem. After the next door, there was no doubt about whether they would live or die. However, when they reached the last room, there was no door in front of Arisu. This is not right, so he analyzed again. There was no door in front of Arisu. There were only doors on the left and right side, but the building they were in was not connected to the next building, so the dead door on their left couldn't be opened. The exit to their right leads to the room where the high school girl lives. This door appeared in an illogical position. Why is it like that? What details did he miss? Arisu suddenly remembered that Hada had taken a video in the first room. So they went through the video. Arisu found that after the high school girl opened the door, there was no door directly in front of her. Instead, there was a wall. This means that there is a small room between their 2 rooms. They ran out alive to prove again that Arisu's deduction is correct. However, this time Ha was too slow and got burned in the calf by the fire. For the last time, they had 10 seconds to make a choice. Whether they can get out alive depends on this choice. In the nick of time, Arisu's choice was the right one. They finally escaped from the many horrible rooms and walked down the escape ladder. Arisu took a deep breath. The phone also prompted to congratulate them on their success. There was a table in front of them. On top of the table was a 3 of clubs card. At that moment, the phone again prompted that those who survive the game will receive a visa. Since the difficulty point of this round of the game is 3, so they get a 3-day survival visa. At this moment, a middle-aged man with blood appeared in front of them. He was very angry and resentful and said he wanted to quit the game because no matter how many levels they pass, there will never be an end to the game. His survival visa expires today. Just as he finished speaking, a laser fell from the sky and hit him. The man lost his breath. They now have 3 days. If they don't want to end up like that man, they had to keep playing the game so that they can pass the game and get a visa, so that they can survive in this country. But they are not the only ones trapped here. And who is this woman standing on the roof? The next day they settle down in a mall, and the techno nerd Hada finds out no matter if it's a camera or a digital clock or electrical appliances with circuit boards, all of them did not work. Only appliances that are not made of chips like this one can work properly. This means that the EMP attack instantly destroyed all the appliances. Given Hada's injured leg, he had difficulty moving. Nana needs to stay and take care of him. Arub and Arisu decided to go to the game on their own. They first tried to discover the secret of the game. The next day, they would take Hada and Anna to pass the game and renew their visas. And they might even meet someone in the game and help Hada find a doctor. So they came to this apartment to play the game. The woman who was standing on the roof of the building was also here. The number of participants tonight is 13. The difficulty of this game is 5 of spades. According to the man, the suit of cards represents the type of game. Clubs means that the game is played by teamwork. Diamonds means the round is played with intelligence. Hearts means that the game is played by playing with the heart and betraying partners. Spades means the round is played with physical strength and stamina. The numbers represent the level of difficulty of the game. The larger the number, the less likely the game is to be passed. This game is hide and seek. The rules of the game are that players cannot be caught by ghosts. The condition is that the player must find a position from a room in the apartment within the game time. Once the player touches the object in the position. Had divided by she will pass the game successfully. The time limit is 20 minutes. The time bomb in a building will automatically detonate after the countdown is over. Since Hada and Nana have similar family backgrounds and situations, they feel compassion and desire for each other. Nana kissed Hada on her own initiative, which man does not want to do something about it. Of course, Nana did this with a purpose. She wanted to have someone to take care of her in the game later, and so the two slept together. The official game for the players started here. The ghosts are officially out to catch people. Saki became aware of the sound of footsteps approaching. She easily climbs up to the balcony and jumps to the next floor. Suddenly, a machine gun goes off in a stairwell. Men shot several times rolled down the stairs. They looked up and saw a man with a horse head mask raising a machine gun. The men shouted in fear and ran away quickly. The two of them hid and were safe for the time being. The other man wasn't so lucky. He ran through the uncovered hallway. Even if the man ran fast, he could not escape the fate of the bullet, and this man was scared to escape from the game area. Thus the laser shot in the forehead ended his life. Then several weak young women fell one after another. Arisu realizes that the ghost mask restricts the ghost's vision. This is the ghost's weakness. Arisu decides to announce the ghost's weakness and location out loud. This way he can give the other players a clear picture of the ghost's location. This way he can avoid the ghost and get to his position safely. Saki once again uses his nimble body to climb over the railing to the next floor. 8 minutes until the end of the game. The number of survivors is now 7. The man prepares to open the door but is shot by the ghost upstairs at long range. Arisu tells the man to run while he still can. The man cowered in fear and sadity on the edge of the balcony, afraid to move. So Arisu creeps up and saves the man. They continue to run away, but that doesn't solve the problem. So Arup decided to ambush the ghost and hold the ghost so that the others could find a position. A strong man and his partner agreed to join the fray. Arisu observed that they were all wearing a bathhouse sensor lock and tag on their wrists. So the 4 of them decided to join forces to hunt the ghosts. Saki is also willing to help them with their plan. After she exchanged information with Arisu, they learned that there was still a second floor waiting to be searched for the existence of a position. Then Saki leapt behind the wall. In the blink of an eye, she reached the second floor. The man then went to lure and attract the attention of the ghosts, thus allowing the ghosts to enter their ambush circle. The strong man who was hiding was slow to act. After the man died from the bullets, he only rushed out. What kind of trusting teammates are these? Who could work with a teammate like that and survive? Arub also rushed out while the ghost was blinded by the fog. But ghosts are not ordinary people either. Both of them fought with the ghost in turn, but they couldn't defeat it. The ghost pulled out his sword and tried to end their lives. Arub could not resist the ghost's fierce attack. He was nearly killed when he was stabbed in the abdomen. The strong man hit the ghost with a flying kick in the air to help him out, but the ghost was very persistent and did not want to give up. The strong man was unfortunately hit by a knife in the face and was injured. On the other side, Arisu tried to calm down and think. Just now the ghost attacked the man who was about to open the door from a distance. The ghost didn't stop shooting until they left the room. He thought this behavior of the ghost was very strange. The other player also saw that something was wrong. If this room is a position inside, then the ghost should just stay here and guard it. Why did the ghost bother to hunt the other players? But they didn't have much time left in the game. They couldn't afford to hesitate any longer. As it turns out, the door does open. There was another ghost in the room waiting for them in the dark. Luckily, Arisu found the ghost behind them in time. Both of them were unharmed. The man also took out the electric shock device and electrocuted the ghost. However, the ghost woke up in a moment and fought back against them. The man escaped to the outside of the room. Arisu hid in the room and locked the door. He noticed that there was a button on each side of the wall of the room, but both buttons had to be pressed at the same time for the game to pass. So Arisu had to call out to his friends to come and help. Saki heard and immediately responded. At this point, the door lock was broken by a gunshot. The ghost broke into the room. Arisu had to fight the ghost bravely to get a chance to live. Saki eventually climbed into the room through the window from downstairs. The man throws a taser to her. Saki successfully grabs the taser and injects electricity into the ghost's body. Then the two leap towards the wall. They press the button at the same time, at the last second of the countdown. They also received a congratulations alert on their phones. In fact, the two ghosts were also played by the people who were first to play the game. Now they lost the game, so the collar around their necks will immediately self-destruct, causing them to bleed and lose their breath. And the cell phone they had on them also indicated that the game was over. Arub retrieved a walkie-talkie from the corpse of the man playing the ghost. A voice on the other end of the walkie-talkie tells them to go back. They have to go back to beach to find answers. When Arub turns around, The strong man had disappeared from the room. Although Arisu had won by thinking and playing the game, but his heart was very hard because he had killed people like them who had been forced to play the game. The heavy guilt weighed heavily on him. Saki said that even though the reality is so cruel, they are just doing this to survive. If you can't bear such an end, you can also choose to sacrifice yourself. Saki's words were like hitting him over the head with a baseball bat and brought him back to reality from his guilt. The most primitive human instinct is to survive. When they returned to their place of residence, Aru recounted what he had heard on the walkie-talkie. They go to a place called Beach to find answers in order to get to the bottom of what was going on. They believe and are willing to risk going to Beach. However, Hada's injuries are still making it difficult for him to walk quickly. But today is the day Hada and Nana's visas expire, so that means they must play and pass the game today in order to survive. Not to mention that Aru and Arisu had already planned to lead them through the game yesterday.